Pony Express Elementary. My name is Matt Cloutier. I joined the Marine Corps in 1998 and served until 2008. During that time, I deployed twice. Both times were to Iraq. The first time was during the invasion of Iraq, and the second time was a convoy security operations mission, escorting trucks around Iraq in 2007. Why I joined the Marine Corps? One, it's the best service. Second, because I really felt a duty to serve my country, to pay back for the freedoms that I'm able to enjoy every day. I've continued that as I've gotten out of the Marine Corps. Now I'm a firefighter for the Army, I enjoy what I do every day, serving other people.
Hi, I'm Micah Sampson. I'm a sergeant in the United States Marine Corps. I joined when I was 18, right out of high school, and I did LAVs, which is light armored vehicles, and went to a bunch of different places. I was able to go to Camp Pendleton, California, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, the Republic of Georgia, which is in Eastern Europe, as well as Iraq for one tour. So while I was in Iraq, we did convoy security, so we drove around protecting other people as we did different missions. We protected the Iraqi Highway Patrol, as well as Navy engineers that would do road repairs. We'd surround them on these convoys and keep them protected as they were doing their jobs, and it was a great time.
My name's Blair Sampson, and I joined the United States Navy when I was 17 years old. I graduated from high school May 29th. May 31st, I was in the military. I was in boot camp. My job in the Navy, I was a jet engine mechanic. I worked on jet airplanes, which was really cool. Whenever an airplane would break down across country, they would send me to fix it. I was stationed in San Diego, and I flew to Mountain Home Air Force Base in Idaho, to Albuquerque, New Mexico, El Paso, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Wichita, Kansas, to fix airplanes, as well as working on the airplanes there in San Diego. I was also on board ship. I was on board the U.S. Enterprise on the other side of the world. We traveled around the world, and I served in one war, the Vietnam War. So I'm a veteran of that war, and it's been a long time ago. Some of the things that I did one time when I was on an airplane, flying back to Wichita, Kansas, and it was the middle of the night, and our plane broke down in the middle of the air. We had to fly back and make an emergency landing in San Diego. So there was some exciting times. And that's about it.
My name is Elizabeth Otteson. I'm a specialist in the Army. I've currently been in for about 2 years now, and I am stationed at Fort Benning in Georgia. My favorite part of my military experience is probably what I'm doing right now. I am attending airborne school where I get to learn how to jump out of an airplane with all my equipment. I decided to join the Army at a very young age. Well, I'm still very young, but I went into the recruiter's office on my 17th birthday, and it was a time in my life where I was feeling very alone and very lost, and I really wanted to be a part of something that I felt mattered and was a lot bigger than myself, and I think the Army provided me that opportunity.
Hello, my name is Jared Smith. I wanted to take a few minutes to kind of talk about my time and my experiences with the United States Air Force as I served our country proudly from 1999 until 2007. I began my career with the United States Air Force. I was going to the University of Utah here in Salt Lake City. I ended up through the University of Utah ROTC, which is the Reserve Officer Training Program, Detachment 850 out of the University of Utah, where you basically do military duty things kind of on a daily basis until you're getting closer to graduation. When you get closer to graduation, they send you off to an actual training boot camp for officer training. My boot camp actually took place at Maxfield Air Force Base. It's in Montgomery, Alabama. So after After my time in Maxwell, it was again 1999 is when I got out of the basic training. I went to train under security forces. I did security force training in San Antonio, Texas at Lackland Air Force Base. Security forces covers a broad array of things, anywhere from MPs to special forces. So I did a lot of active duty assignments. Unfortunately, 1999 was also right around the time of 9/11. So I was actually in the military when 9/11 occurred. I was obviously called up to full active duty at 9/11. After 9/11, I carried out various security force details throughout the world. Actually full service, full-time duties over the next 2 years. I served in a lot of places and did a lot of things, saw a lot of things. When the security force detail of my unit were to be reported back and go back into reserve duty, I decided to come out of security forces and try my hand at communications and public affairs. Communications and public affairs is basically anything to do with the military and their communication with the public. So any kind of interviews, if you have an on base, if anything happens and they need to interview anyone from the United States military, they would always go through a public affairs or a communications type position, which I would hold. I also wrote for the Citizen Airman, which is the magazine for the United States Air Force, traveled around to quite a few different places. As I went through this training and worked under public affairs, I ended up becoming an instructor for the public affairs and journalism classes out of a DINFOS, which is a Defense Information School. That Defense Information School is based in Fort Meade, Maryland. It's right off the Baltimore-Washington Parkway, right between Baltimore and Washington, D.C. So I actually served there as a full-time teacher at the Defense Information School. We had all branches that would come through there. We had Marines, we had Coast Guard, we had Air Force, we had Army, we had everybody, Navy. Everybody would come through there. Anyone that was qualified through that public affairs division would go through the courses that we would put them through. It would contain print, layout, design for the magazine. It would include veteran affairs. It would include interview affairs, a lot of top secret kind of clearances, because you get a lot of information in that role. Yeah, so I spent the remainder of my time with the DINFOS, Defense Information School. When I got out of the military in 2007, I was doing just reserve duty, and I continued to do reserve duty until 2007 when I was finally released from the military. I will say that the military was probably the best experience I ever had in my life. It taught me respect, it taught me punctuality, it taught me honor, it taught me so many different things, and probably the number one thing I learned with the military is integrity before anything else on this earth. The motto in the United States Air Force was, service before self. So you always put the military ahead of your own needs. There was God, country, and then family and friends. So in that order, those are the things that, at that time, and I continue to have a strong feeling towards the United States military and the United States government. I am a patriot. I love the United States of America. I felt that this was more of my calling when a Mormon mission came around. I don't think I was in the right mindset to take or go on a mission, an LDS mission. So I chose to serve my country instead. I have no regrets, and it was one of the best experiences I said I could ever have had. Thank you so much for your time. I hope this was informational. Bye-bye.